Well, hello, everyone. Uh, Thank you for joining Demystifying Government Contracting. We are here every Wednesday from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Guess what? You're in for a treat because we are uh, trying something a little bit new based on the tremendous success from last week's Empowering Small Business Success. We were live from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time from Saturday to Sunday, and had almost 700 people join during that 7 day period. And so a lot of people have asked, hey, can you go live on for audio? And I just have to tell y'all a little selfish, but I like audio better, especially because I'm playing producer, virtual assistant, and all these things in the background. And so when I don't have to be on video, it's a little easier for me. And plus, it's more traditional, just like it would be if you were at an actual podcast, only you're going to get a chance to interact. So, with that said, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Michelle Gardner-Ince, aka GI, and I am the host of Demystifying Government Contracting. Want to welcome you again, ask you to, just engage, lean in, listen in. This is going to be an opportunity for us to, to just talk about government contracting and business. I don't think we can't have enough conversations. And, this past week, kind of, I would say, kind of solidified that. But before we get started, I do want to put up a little bit of a demystifying government contracting, aka GI, disclaimer. This session and all sessions given here are for entertainment and information purposes. So, it does not represent the views, opinions, activities, anything of the Department of Veteran Affairs. There's no policy being made here. There's no procurement sensitive information being shared. But let me tell you what you are going to get with this amazing panel that we've got here is you are going to get the opportunity to hear in context the plethora of information that is available to you out there on the internet. You put federal contracting in, you put government contracting in Google search, and you're going to find, oh my God, just, a huge amount, millions of responses will come back. But this is all about empowering small business success from the standpoint of, the underserved communities, which President Biden's executive order basically says that's women, veterans, minority, disabled, and LGBTQ. If whether you're just getting started in government contracting or whether you've been in the game for a while, one of the things that I have realized as a person who has a front row seat speaking to, at least no less than 20, 30 companies a week and hundreds over the last 12 years or so, that no matter what point you are in your business, you can grow, and you have to be growing, and you have to be building business, because what got you where you were 10 years ago is not the same thing that's going to get you where you need to go for the next 10 years. And if you don't believe that, just ask anybody who's had, a 5-10 year contract, and they will tell you, yes, it's still work. It's just work at a different level, and you have more staff to help you with that work. So before we go ahead and get started, I do want to celebrate these amazing humans that are that are here with me tonight. Generally, we're in Demystifying Government Contracting, LinkedIn audio, where it's like a closed kind of room where you wouldn't be able to, you'd have to come in and we can see everybody on the, on the stage. But this time we said, let us share our community with, with others. And so that's what we're doing. And we're doing a little bit of a beta test for the next two or three weeks. So super, super excited. We've got with us Coach Sean Austin, who, spoke. Many of these experts spoke last week. I'm going to go in order. First of all, we don't have William with us, but day one of National Small Business Week, we had William Randolph, former senior executive and acquisition executive, Navy veteran, talk to us about, the 6 C's of contracting. Absolutely amazing. If you didn't get a chance to hear it, then you can go to my profile, select events, and you can hear the replay there. Then on day two, oh my God, we had Linda Gray, who, from Corporate Connections, and she was talking about unlocking funding success from a nonprofit standpoint. That means whether you are a for-profit or a nonprofit, how do you find funds, take advantage of many of the federal and local state programs, which are there to enable your passion to continue to serve. And if you're interested in that, check out Miss Linda, but you can also find that under events on day two. Then we had on day three, we had on day three, we had Guy Timberlake, 7 Habits for Winning in Federal Contracting. And let me just say, hold on, let me mute somebody. There we go. It was tremendous. And it was all about the importance of using data and information to identify your particular market and client. And, he has a different way of doing that. And so, one of the things I'll tell you is follow every single person that is on, that is on the stage or is, identified as a speaker for this event. Then on next day, day three, sorry, I went out of order. Day three, we had Iman Cotton, and she talked about, some of the CDFIs. If you don't know what a CDFI, that's a community development financial institution, and basically how you can get small business loans. And these are for people who may or may not be able to be approved by the bank, but these programs are about enabling the underserved communities that I mentioned. So thanks so much to Imani. And then we also had Daniel, who came and talked to us about, mastering your personal and business credit and the importance, how one impacts the other. He also talked to us about factoring, which is a way to fund your particular business efforts. If you need to make payroll or you need to buy, products and you need some funds, there's some different strategies there. And then on day 5, we had Coach Sean Austin, amazing, CEO of Austin Business Strategies and home of Bank Ready. He talked about leveraging AI, whether it's proposals, whether it's market research. How can you use AI not only to run your business, but to grow your business? And then on day 6, we had Chanel Glover, CEO of Ambitious Strategies, and she was talking about, state and local opportunities, as well as the American Rescue Act, and teaming. How do you use these programs and grow your business through teaming to bring present a larger capability and a larger capacity to the client? And then we had on day 7, we had Anthony Peters, CEO of Nouveau Communications, giving us tips about leading your team and elevating your team. And if you haven't seen any of all of these sessions, you need to go back and listen. There's so many jewels and nuggets there. And he just talked about his path to success and where he's going, and really passionate about developing more leaders and partnering with more people in underserved communities in the robotics and physical security arena. And then last but not least, we had Lori Smith, CEO of AccuElegant, also founder of Sowing Our Seeds, a new nonprofit. Just got her papers. Congratulations to her. And she talked about building community. And the community she's building is all about helping, women, veterans, women of color build a community to be successful. And as well as we had a great conversation about some of the things that small businesses need to do to be successful. So with that, I'm going to ask, let me look at the comments first of all. Let me put this back up here and let me look at the comments and see if we have some questions here. If not, I'm going to ask these amazing humans for some questions. But tell me, I'm going to start with Coach. Welcome, Coach. Have you introduced yourself and just talk for a minute while I look for the comments on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. And I want to say welcome to everybody. Just tell us about the session, not your session, but hearing your fellow experts. Just what did you get out of it? Give one nugget, and then I'll be right back.
You talking about the TSU session or the session from last week with all of our wonderful colleagues?
Our session from last week, and I'll give everybody an opportunity at the end to talk about what they're doing and what's going on, and giving folks an update how they can work with you, support you, and how you can support them.
Yeah, so great introduction. As always, I mean, she gives better introductions than we do for ourselves. So I just need to probably record her one day. I mean, what I got from last week, guys, was great. Chanel's I love always. Dr. Lori's in particular kind of stand out. What it helps me do is kind of right set, right? So the nuggets of staying, I go deeper when I hear them speaking, meaning sometimes we can get a little bit too over the gamut. Sometimes we're reaching too far and the jewels are right there in front of us. Chanel talks about local, but then she gave kind of a deeper dive into how to go local, what to look for in the American Rescue Plan Act, and how those dollars are right there in front of you. The grants we can go after, the grants that are already out there on the floor with city council people, persons, ladies and gents to go to. That's a lot by itself, right? I need grant funding. There's certain things that we're doing on a for-profit, but it could be on a nonprofit side. How can we use those grant funds for ourselves? Getting deeper into the fundamentals of where the federal dollars are being spent. When I hear Dr. Lori being speaking, so it allows me to right set, it allows me to settle down, and it helps me even better consult my own clients, helps me better consult my own team. We're all
I lost you, Coach, there for a minute.
the pause what she's used to doing and onboarding two and a half people to do what her role is to allow her to be more creative in what she does naturally, right? So that's a lot. So I've got to pivot off of her. I said, you know what, this is a time where we can pause and let me seek out newer solicitations, newer streams of revenue in a space where you have to sometimes pause and look for those things and then go after them further, right? We've got solicitations going on for Q3, so let's look at that. So I could go on. There's so much that I get from this group of fantastic people, awesome professionals. I'm just in awe and really humbled to be in their presence always, because I'm always getting something. And I would tell the people that are listening, always be a student. You don't know really as much as you may think you know, but super humble yourself to get those little nuggets that can really take you to the next level. So that's all I got for that for right now, Michelle. But that's, yeah, I can talk for hours about that.
I love the fact that you said, all boats rise together, and that's what this demystifying government contracting community is all about, us learning from each other. So next I'm going to call on Chanel.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Michelle,
Yeah,
can you repeat the question?
absolutely. So I'm asking everyone, I'm just going across on my screen. So I got you, Michael, Lori, Anthony, and Lisa, asking you all to share something you learned from one of the other speakers from last week.
Uh, I would say I think I hopped on 2 or 3 of your um events from Coach. I've learned about more tools like AI tools because I work with the companies to develop them, but I don't always use the tools. So I did learn about other tools that I can, be using in AI. And then for you, Michelle, and Anthony and Lori, more leadership. I learned about uh, I would say how to implement certain leadership strategies when you're scaling as a small business, specifically as a small business, and things that you can do, just to like make things flow easier and more efficient. So on the calls that I was on, those are some of the things that I learned.
Amazing. Thank you. One of the things I do, because I know you are into AI, even though you learned some stuff from Coach, what are some of the things that how you are using AI, or would you recommend small business leverage AI?
Yes, so I actually now for reporting or presentations, I use AI on a daily basis. Like tomorrow, I was called for an important event, and I need to get together a lot of information in a short amount of time to train some people who are well versed in what they do. So I'm going to use AI to do research on my audience, so that I can speak to them and their needs. So I use it for research, and then for example, I have some proposals I need to work on um, for some large companies. So what I do there is I go out and I do market research, but then I also do research about specific topics with AI. It gives me lots of more detailed information, and I use Gemini and chat gpt. So I use the Google version and OpenAI version, and then the paid versions are more powerful in my opinion. I also use AI standalone tools. So like I have some tech companies that they'll customize or like white label tools for me, so I go look for RFPs through tools like state and local, and it does a quick analysis for me. And then I also do accounting and financial analysis using AI because it can identify like shortfalls, deficiencies, and anything going on. You train the model and it'll do it for you. And many of these things, they have small business, like many of the startups have tools that are just for small businesses, or they'll walk you through and they're simple, like low to no code. So it doesn't require you to do like any development or very low coding.
Thank you so much. And if you have any, any of those resources you want to share, you and Coach both, I believe in real time, just in time training, just because things are out there. But when people, such as yourselves, are using this actively as a tool to, not only empower your business, but also to help others. Be empowered in their business, I want to give them that tool. So if you don't mind, drop it in the comments so folks can pick that up. You can either do that on LinkedIn or you can do it on the chat here. With the chat here, it picks, I think, Facebook, YouTube and LinkedIn will you can see it. But what I just realized, for those of you who have not shared your profile publicly, meaning people outside of LinkedIn can't find you, we cannot see your name. You just come up as a LinkedIn user um, on the in the chat. So just FYI. Again, thank you for joining. Thanks, and put your questions in the chat after everyone kind of talks about one thing they learned from last week from another member expert. Then we're gonna dive into some great conversation. Miss Lori.
Well, hello, hello, hello. Good evening to everyone. Again, I know Michelle says she's gonna wait for folks to tell what's going on, but she let the cat out of the bag. Sowing our seeds. We are a nonprofit. How cool is that? Woohoo! So I'm very excited to be here tonight. And y'all know I had a wonderful time last week. For the classes and the sessions that I was able to catch. I had the awesome opportunity the weekend prior to attend the VWise conference in Atlanta, Georgia, and stay and listen to what the state of Georgia representatives had to say as it relates to veteran services, and actually also engage locally here in Savannah with the Black Chamber of Commerce. So had a busy week earlier in the week, so I wasn't able to hear everything, but I did get an opportunity to listen to what Guy Timberlake had said. And I think what I'm often reaffirmed or reassured or comforted in knowing is that there's someone, a test of your validity, a test of what the truth that you speak. When it is truth is repeated. More often than not, people would think that the lie is the thing that gets the notoriety. But I like the fact that there are a bunch of experts across multiple spectrums, and we are repeating the same thing in truth. And when the experts, and these are the people that have really done the work, done the deed, got street credits and can share with you their perspective from various angles, when they are trying to impart upon people, hey, we're here to support you. And when we're all saying the same thing, there's no pre-planning about it, regardless of the day of the week, that's a foot stomp. And so people are to take the foot stomp serious. And so that's what I got out of Guy. Guy provided a lot of repetitive information that Michelle, you and your team and all of us have over the past year or so been regurgitating over and over again. So it's always great to bring in an alternate person that's an expert as well in his own right, doing some amazing and wonderful things. But again, we're not contradicting one another. So that's what I got out of what Guy said, a lot of great information. And then he also provided some additional nuggets as to how you can source, identify and find opportunities and things of that nature. So I thought that was great. And especially the component of him showing, we talk about the money, but he had a table and a graph where he actually showed people the where the money is at. And so I thought that was wonderful. From Chanel's point of view, what she provided, again, when we talk about the opportunities and the multiple things that are available to people, her sharing the information about the American Rescue Fund, a lot of people don't know the availability of that money. It's been seen at a lot of state and local levels for a very long time, and it's just not being utilized because there is this issue with communication. And I don't think it's not that communication is not occurring. We've been selective in what we want to hear, and for some strange reason, there's a large number of people want to hear anything quick and easy, but nobody want to hear that the race ain't given to the swift, but to the one that's endured to the end. So we got to work at this thing. And so I really love, how Chanel is always going to give you everything that you need in that information. And so just the breadth and the depth of that information was wonderful. Coach leveraging and communicating to everyone, Coach Austin, about the benefit of AI. A great and a wonderful tool, talking about the flexibility that it offers and actually encouraging people to understand it and get familiar with it. He also reminded me, girl, a while ago, you paid for a subscription to something you hadn't tested out. So I went back and tested out Perplexity because I had a subscription to it and I couldn't remember what tool I have. Nobody's tech queen, a princess in training, and every now and then I have to have remedial training, but I love the technology and the innovation that a lot of tools and opportunities have as relates to efficiency. So I really enjoyed that. And then the takeaway from that is that there's a responsible way to utilize AI. And we're not being responsible when we do not acknowledge that the stuff that it regurgitates out in this chat GPT language, like we don't know the language when we see it and read it, is not yours. And so I just appreciated, that detailed overview about the efficiency of of AI, not even just chat GPT, of AI tools, because there are so many that are out there, but there's a responsible way to utilize them. And we just need to take advantage of that. And then I also appreciated, even when we culminated everything up, having Anthony on the phone call from talking about leadership from a perspective in a way that, again, although we hear people talk about leadership, there are some people that are just innately born to do certain things. And he brought it with a level of efficiency and grace that, man, it was like you having aha moments here and there. But then, too, I was over here grading myself. And I said, oh, girl, you out of school and you still got an A, because, again, you reflect on your life, and so I was just really grateful at the authenticity and just the free flow of information that everyone provided. And that's the beauty of this group. That's the beauty of what you have done, Michelle, is God has given you the spirit of discernment where you are able to reconcile a group of people who is all about truth. And so I just appreciate everything that you've done. And that is what I learned from last week's Small Business Week. And I'm here to learn more.
Thank you. Y'all know I was talking. Thank you so much. LinkedIn family, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. We are trying something different. Normally we do LinkedIn audio. And so if you're not on the LinkedIn platform, you wouldn't be able to be part of this conversation. So, based on last week, we're going to try this out for, 2 or 3 weeks, probably until June, and see how you like it. And I think we got 14 people on, at least on LinkedIn. We got more on Facebook and more on YouTube. But I really want to see, how do you want us to show up? How do you want to view this conversation? We decided to go LinkedIn Live, but with no photos, because what that does, there's a power of audio. Audio is, you can be doing something else and still hearing the information, as well as it really forces you to lean in and listen in. So we'd love to get your questions, get your insight. Thanks again for joining. And we are asking each of our experts on the stage, Coach Sean, Chanel, Lori, and then now Anthony, Lisa, and Michael, to share one thing they learned from one of their fellow experts from last week's National Small Business Week. So next I'm going to do Lisa, and then we're going to go with Anthony and Michael next.
Good evening, everyone, and hello, GI, and everybody on the panel. It is always wonderful to hear everybody's voice. I did not have the pleasure last week to listen into every session because I was out on assignment last week, but I did listen to a couple of them, and the one that they all were extremely powerful, but the one that really hit home for me was a session with Linda Gray and the conversation about grants. And I know she was speaking from a nonprofit perspective, but I picked up quite a few nuggets that I didn't know. And I've been in the industry for a long time, but I didn't know some things that she shared about grant opportunities that are available for-profit organizations. So I was excited to learn all those things. I couldn't take notes fast enough. I actually plan to go back and re-listen to that session. But I want to echo what everyone else said this evening, is that you have put together a phenomenal panel of resources, and every resource has, several years of experience and expertise in the marketplace, and everyone brings to the table some knowledge and some wisdom. And the collaboration and the conversations also help us to support one another. So I will say that, I listen to a lot of different platforms, and the information that comes out of this one is real. It's very, very real. It does require that some work be done. You can pick up a lot of knowledge, but you have to take the knowledge and go do something with it. And when you put those things in action, your businesses will start to expand, they will start to excel, they will grow exponentially. So I thank you for doing this. Thank you for having me on the platform. I look forward to presenting soon. Um,
Yes.
so thank you.
No, thank you. And we're gonna get you in. We're gonna get Michael in. And we got some other folks lined up too. So I'm so glad that we have, what I tell people is a 360-degree perspective on this small business arena. And I'm honored beyond words that you all have joined on the journey. So next, Michael.
Hello, everyone. How you doing? Can you hear me?
I hear you perfectly. Share one thing that you learned last week during Small Business Training Week.
Oh, absolutely. So, Michael Council from EC Technology Consulting Services, and last week, it I was able to hit two classes because I had other commitments. But I'll tell you what, I hit guys, go to guys class, but I also hit up Coach John's, and I had an epiphany when I was sitting in Coach's class, and I said, because of my cybersecurity background, I really was like pushing away AI, pushing away. And I was like, as a small businessman and working in this government field, I really, really need to do two things. And the two things that I pulled from, I know you said one, but I'll do quick. One, be patient, build up your skill set. Build up your skill set with those AI tools so you can use them well and you use them to the best of your ability because they are multipliers. They multiply your effort and increase your time value. And AI, it's inevitable. So make sure you're implementing AI in your solutions, and you're also when you're doing consulting that you give the right advice on AI as you learn. Last thing, remember your data, your customer data, you need to protect it. So as you're using AI, make sure you're using it responsible. Chanel said last week, make sure you opt out not using that data. Just like you don't do tests, assessments with client data, some of the your client data you can't enter in AI. So that's what I learned.
Thank you so much, and looking forward to Michael's going to join him and a couple of other folks, and we're going to have a cybersecurity. We might have to call it Cybersecurity Council. That just came to me, Michael. You better write that down. You better go get it, brother. But
Cybersecurity Council Roundtable.
hello, you better get it. That's what I'm talking about. Y'all, my mind works. I don't know. I'm a creative, but I'm also love brain. But when I hear something that goes with someone else's brand, I just share it. I don't worry about it. And if they act on it, it's $1 million idea. But if they don't, it's okay. It'll die. Oh, look, what do they say? If it's planted on hollow ground, bad soil, it won't take root. But I know Michael gonna take that thing and grow it. So go ahead, brother. Thank you for joining us. Anthony, how you doing, brother?
Yeah.
Tell us something you
Hey,
learned. You were on
hey.
several sessions last week.
Oh yeah, I was there all week. I only missed one session. But definitely love the platform, love what you're doing. You're a blessing to at least the US, if not the world. So definitely love being a part of this. But the one thing I would say that I took from all of them, just to kind of put a bow on it, is that if you weren't there, listen to all seven of them because I will tell you each of them, in each of the sessions, there was $1 million increase to your organization. There was $1 million increase to your organization in each and every one of them. Whether that was listen to Coach or Guy or Iman, I'll tell you, I've actually called a couple of them myself, going, "Hey, I thought I knew, but I guess I didn't." So let me actually learn a little bit more. But there was at least $7 million worth of increase to your organization if you just follow some of the tidbits that were given last week. I'll leave it there.
I wholeheartedly agree, and I think you're hitting home a point that Lori talked about, and that is, always be coachable, never be know everything. And I'm going to tell you, I live and breathe this 24/7, and every time I hear you all speak or others speak, I hear something amazing. We got look, we got Miss Linda Graydon joined us, y'all. Hey, Miss Linda, how you doing? I don't know if you unmuted yet. Hey, Miss Linda, how you doing? If you can tell us something that we need to remember about your presentation. One key nugget that's going to bring success, listeners, from your session last week. I don't know if you can hear us, if you can unmute. Let me see. I don't know if I can let me see if I can unmute you. Miss Linda, can you hear me? I think I tried to unmute you. Okay, so you're muted. All right, we'll come back to you, Miss Linda. So let's talk. I think one of the best things that we do here is the conversations, that we have. And so, the first question, I think one of y'all know I'm passionate about relationships. And so, we're going to go through a couple of questions, but at the end, I want everyone to know that these amazing human beings have their own businesses. They are CEO of their own, market, and they are working as hard as you are on growing their business. And having said that, I love to celebrate their success, their progress, their activities that they're doing, because I want you to know these are people with receipts. We probably have, let me see, 1, 2, 3, let's see, 20, 40, that's probably 70, 90, 110, 130. We probably have at least 150 years of receipts and experience on this stage. And they are generously sharing when other people are want you to pay for everything. They want you to pay too, but this is about getting you all the information, right? The transformation comes where I may need help, doing something, but we believe go free first, right? You utilize the free resources, because as someone who is I call it an evergreen student. I'm always learning from everything, everyone. I have paid for more stuff that, like Lori said, that I haven't used. So I want to encourage you to use PTAC, Women Business Center, SCORE, Small Business Development Center, Veteran Business Outreach Center, all these different SBA website, all these different free resources. But when you have a question, come here and ask a question in the chat. If you don't want to ask the question directly, you can send me a DM here on LinkedIn, and I will pose the question generically, because I know some people don't want to, necessarily. But I know everybody has a challenge with their business and that they're trying to overcome, and that is just inherent of growth in your business. But you won't learn unless you ask the question. And you have here on the stage with you, speakers, experts, and CEOs that have been in the trenches, that are growing their business, not preaching and telling you to do something they haven't done, but they have done it and are doing it. So I encourage you to follow each and every one of them on the stage, as well as if you see people in the chat, follow those people in the chat. But let's just talk. Let's talk in general. And there's a couple of challenges that small businesses deal with. Regulation and compliance is always an issue. the procurement and bidding process. And, a lot of that was covered by William Randolph and Guy Timberlake. Really thankful for them coming. Cash flow management was kind of talked about, not kind of was talked about by Iman Cotton and Daniel Winton. And then building credibility and relationships and establishing a track record. Chanel hit on that from the standpoint of like teaming and partnering and increasing your capability. And then let's talk about my all favorite topic, and that is business relationships. One of the things I know, Coach, last week, Coach, not last week, this week, Coach had an event. Coach Sean Austin Business Strategy had an event that was built around the opportunity that he got after building a relationship for quite a while. It wasn't just, one and done. I met you now, let me do this for you. And so what I'd like to hear from you, Coach, kind of start off the conversation about what were some of the nuggets that came out of this week's session with your client, kind of lay the groundwork with your client. And then from there, I'd like everybody else to chime in, kind of give an example of some of the opportunities that they've gotten from building relationships. So over to you, Coach. And by the way, before, I got to give you your flowers. That was a tremendous event. The room was full, the room was engaged, the clients were engaged, the panel members were as transparent as I have ever seen. They gave them the recipe, whether they wrote it down, whether they got it or not, is another thing. But I thought it was well done. You brought together some amazing power players, and it was just a pleasure to kind of have a front row seat and watch you do your thing. So congratulations, brother.
Thank you, my sis. Thank you so much. Yeah, that was a whole labor there. But the cool thing that made it so, I think that made it come off so well, was the fact that all those panel members, from the J.P. Morgan consultant to Bill Brown, the head of the Tellefson, which is their major developer that builds everything from hospitals to labs. They're building the Texas Southern University Innovation Center. You had, head of the city, Office of Business Opportunity. You had a former procurement officer with port systems, et cetera. She was a consultant now. And then two actual tradesmen, one that's actually GC, another that does HVAC. And it was a diverse panel, right? And all of those are people I can pick up the phone and say, hey, I'm doing this event with Texas Southern. We want to teach procurement, but we want to do it a little different. Not just a trade show or vendor booths and that kind of thing was a little noisy. Let's, I'll fill the room up as much as we can, but let's have a conversation. Let's have a panel. Well, I'll curate some questions that I get all the time, but let's teach through our dialogue. And, that relationship was built almost like a year and something ago with Mr. Ward, head of procurement for Texas Southern, the chief operating officer for Texas Southern. I was a day late getting into a procurement that I didn't have my eye on, but he did. And he just was so busy, he couldn't get to me. So he felt bad. It's like, man, I should have gave this to you. I knew you would have landed the butt. I said, don't worry about it. Just look, I'll be here. And it allowed me to learn Texas Southern and the state of Texas's hub program and what was needed, where things are falling off. And again, this is, we've got Fearless Fund and all these things going on with Bloom and this and the third. So I had a chance to just understand the whole landscape, but how is it affecting my own backyard, but still giving some federal reach because they asked about GSA schedules and everything else. So that tied into it. So we were able to just get together and I saw the opening. So the procurement schedule came back around. I saw they had a new budget. So I was kind of lining my rifle up, if you will, Anthony, right, for that long distance, short range shot, if you will. So I just started pegging away. And the opportunity was there. The conversation was there. And I said, how about if I send you a proposal for X, Y, and Z? Because you're about to go pre-bid. Let me hit you across the head. I know your thresholds. I knew their policy better than he did. So the proposal I sent across, I know he could sign off, but I need his boss to sign off. and they were able to do a sole source award to my firm to do this training. It was a training that they'd been needing, but one thing that was missing that as an outside consultant I could see was y'all don't have us. But if you did have us internal, I don't want you to hire me as a TSU employee. Let's make this an event. That's something we'll do twice a year, et cetera, et cetera. So long story short, that was a full-blown relationship that was very tactical. I was at the same procurement breakfasts with him every month. We go to the same events. So I just made sure I stayed on his radar, and I made sure he saw what we were doing last year and built into this year. So now he could advocate for us as, yes, I've seen the work. I mean, he's working with this, that. I'm already working with the port, the city here, this, that, and the third. They see our clients. We're referring clients to them for free, basically. So the event yesterday was all of my colleagues, in a sense, almost like on our season in a way. They were all local, and the panel was a relationship build for us, yes, but it also showed every business in the room. You need all these people on your team, from the banker to the tradesman. The questions that people were asking were being answered by my colleagues, so we were on the same accord, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they will even wonder, well, how did I do? You did great. How did I do? So it was funny that we even asked each other, like, how did I do? Like, we wanted to make each other proud, but more importantly, they wanted to make sure that TSU was happy with me, because
That's
they know how
beautiful.
important that report is. So the relationships have taken almost 3 levels higher. Like, we're good with each other, and now it's like, okay, we got to do this now. So
You are now part of their solution.
yes, and now
That
they
you're
need you to be part of.
ingrained in that, and I
Yes,
think that is something that you spent how many years building that relationship?
oh, it's like a year and a half with
Okay.
him. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
and I'm gonna say this: I didn't build it with the end in mind. I just knew, let me stay on that radar, because when that time comes around, I knew that procurement cycle would be coming. But I always leave it in God's hands. So where you go tell me when, you go let me know when it's time. And I pray it every day. Like, give me the wisdom to know when to ask and when to be quiet.
Beautiful.
And I just
Beautiful.
leave it alone, and I just build it so it's authentic, it works, and let me give more than I ask. So when I am asking, and that's the first time too. Before I go, that's the first time I'd ask any of those panel members to do me a favor. Hey, I need you
Uh-huh.
to come speak, and they're
Uh-huh.
like, oh,
Uh-huh.
I'll be
Uh-huh.
there. Oh, don't worry about it.
Yeah, you did what I call build a bridge before you need it. When you're building a like a string bridge, you can't carry a lot of stuff across that bridge because that bridge is swinging in the wind. But when you are building that bridge on a strong foundation with good pillars built over time, what happens is if you got a load, meaning I got something I need to ask, then the bridge is solid and it's easy to ask. You're like, oh yeah, I know, Coach. Awesome, Coach. Well, congratulations again. I wanna I wanna give I'm gonna ask Lisa, who I think has been in business the longest on our expert panel. How has a relationship, investing in a client relationship, helped you with a specific business success? And for those of you who are joining us on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, we are talking with this amazing panel of experts, more than 150 years of experience, receipts of success, and who are currently working in their business. And that's one of the things I'm passionate about, and everybody here is that we shouldn't be trying to help people go someplace we haven't been. And there are some people who are giving information, but they don't know how to execute that. And that's not what you're going to get here. You're going to get people who are doing the work, have done the work. So over to you, Lisa.
Thank you, GI. So I've been in business for 27 years, and I honestly believe that you
We lost you for a minute, Lisa. Lisa, we lost you. At least I did. Do y'all hear her?
No, I don't hear.
No, me either.
Okay, maybe Lisa, I don't know if you can hear us. Maybe you hit the mute button by mistake, but we can't hear you. Okay, I'm gonna give her just another second. and then I'm going to ask, we'll come back to you. Next, I want to talk to Miss Linda. Miss Linda, are you able to unmute? Miss Linda, are you able to unmute? All right, we'll come back to Miss Linda. And let me go to Michael. Michael, you want to tell us about a specific, business success that's helped you, that you got business success because of client relationship.
Yes. So I really think, just to drive the point home of what Coach said, and what he, can you hear me? Okay. What Coach said and what he basically executed with his TSU event was just making sure that you're consistent and you maintain those relationships and you work and you provide a win-win situations in those relationships. So as you're building the relationship and building the foundation of the relationship, make sure that you're just not pulling and taking and receiving from the relationship, but you're contributing to the relationship, not only in the present tense, but strategically in the future. And what do I mean by that? Well, you may know, because of your niche or your field, something coming up, as simple as, hey, they're going to make you, BCMMC level 1 certified to do contracts to have FCI data. Or they're going to make you BCMMC level 2.
Hey, Michael, for those of us who are in kindergarten in the cyber community, can you speak out those acronyms? Thank you.
Absolutely. Those are capability, maturity, model certification. So basically, that's where, DoD, they're going to make sure that the defense industrial base has a level of cybersecurity implemented into their actual contractors and subcontractors. So that's just CMMC in a nutshell, real quick.
Got it.
On the relationship, just strategically bringing them through things and helping them with your niches, where you're successful, where you built your receipts at, because everyone isn't monitoring those channels and they don't know all those regulations. And as they're starting to, bid on the proposals and they're reading through, they may miss it, or they may see it and don't understand what it is. And you may need to be there to, to kind of help them along and help push them through. So, building relationships, being strategic about how you build relationships, and how it's helped me in my business. Well, first of all, it's brung a couple contracts to my business where I was able to execute on 1099s, but it's also, helping me build up my social proof and my expertise. And I know that's going to lead into a lot larger teaming relationships and contracts in the future.
Absolutely. I think, your point about being consistent, right? And diligent, and just doing it because you're there to partner with your client. And the more you understand their challenges, the more you understand their issues and needs, and they believe that you are there to help them succeed, not just to get paid. You will get paid, with the opportunity, but it's really just about helping them think through the best solution, and that best solution involves you. And now I see you tied to my solution. And oftentimes that's not overnight. Most people, there's a study that says from handshake to contract is 2 to 3 years. So Coach was a little bit ahead of time. For those of you who have just joined us, we've been talking with this amazing expert panel about not only Small Business Week last week, but also talking about success, right, within with through client relationships. And if somebody else wants to jump in, go ahead. I see we have Lisa back. Anthony, did you want to say something before we go over to Lisa?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give you one that just happened within the last 5 days. but it's taken 3 years to get there. So with this particular company, Nova Communications, we're only a 2.5-year-old company with regards to this. But I worked for someone in a Fortune 100 company for about 3 years, just creating a solution set for them so I could start a business. So over those 3 years, showing him showing my boss at the time, the CEO of this organization, that, hey, we could actually do something a little bit differently, and as well as bring a more underserved community, up and faster. And guess what? They have better ideas. Well, how that is paid off, and I can give you the details, but how that is paid off as of last Friday, I was awarded a $2 million job that pays out within 6 months. So before the end of this year, I'm not only closing the business, but I'm also getting paid out for it. And so with that, it took 3 years for me staying in this person's back pocket about showing him that there was a better way of doing it. And hey, by the way, I'm going to start a business to help you out with that.
Amazing. So how do you think it was the relationship and your past performance as a 1099 or as a employee was what
It,
set up the trust?
I think it's all of it. And you talked about building that bridge. If you remember, I talked about the 5 tenets of business.
Mm-hmm.
Business is a function of relationships. Number 2 is make your friends before you need them, and 3 is call on them when you do. So in this case, I did the 3, and it sounds like Coach has been doing the exact same thing. Is that I created the relationship built upon not only his confidence in me, but the credibility that if I say something, I'm going to do it. And then secondarily, I created that bridge where he knew that this was something that internally they could not do without it being a heavy lift, because it was like turning the Titanic. Well, when I started this organization, he thought I was playing. And so I called in all favors and said, hey, guess what? I got it. Let's go do it. It took about 6 months, 7 months for him to really take me seriously. But because I deposited so much in that credibility tank,
Mm-hmm.
that when I asked for it back, that's why I had a sole source $2 million job.
Wow. Well, huge congratulations to you. We love to celebrate each other's success. Hey, I know more is coming. Again, thanks for that insight. That was good. Hey, Lisa, you ready? Are you back?
Hopefully you can hear me this time.
I can hear you. Yes, lady.
All right, fantastic. So as I was saying before, I've been in business for 27 years, and the relationship concept is something that has carried my business from the very beginning to today. Um, I will say that greater than 80% of our business comes through word of mouth and referrals, which is through the relationships that we've developed with our clients and then also with strategic partners. One of the things I tell small businesses constantly is, and this is where I think a lot of organizations leave a whole lot of money on the table, is your relationships, your network is your $1 million proposition. So a lot of times we, get shy about going back and having conversations with people. But I think that is one of the gifts that we're given in life, period, is the relationship. And we have to learn how to leverage it in an effective way. When I first started my business, relationships got me started so effectively that I didn't miss a beat from the time I stopped working for my employer to the day I opened my doors. We had so much business that I had to hire somebody immediately to support me, to support it in support of the clients that we served. And that was again through the relationships. And like you said, GI, it's also past performance. If you do good work, people want to make certain that they keep you in their corner. They want to give good referrals to other, organizations of good resources. And so it all has to do with the past performance as well. But a couple of big wins that I've experienced as a result of relationships and working with clients in particular is with my first company that I sold in 2018. I had been working. My company does or had been doing full outsourced accounting for federal government contractors. That was our primary customer, and we were not doing business with the federal government, although we saw some opportunities where we could. So we had pursued our 8A certification, but up until that point, and all actually throughout the entire journey, we supported federal government contractors. In this particular instance, we had been working with a company for, I would say at that point, we've been working with them for maybe 5 years. We helped them develop compliance. We had a really good track record with them. We had a really good relationship. They had just graduated from the 8A program, or was graduating from the 8A program, and they couldn't pursue some of the contracts that they had in place. And we were well positioned to partner with them. They provided services that fit within our wheelhouse. They did acquisition support, full life cycle. In this particular instance, we were able to support them in the tail end of the acquisition support through contract closeout, which has a financial component. So it made sense for us to partner. And through that opportunity, we received our first multi-million-dollar contract because of our partnership. Fast forward, we kind of flipped the script and had developed relationships with agencies over time, where we had been doing supporting, federal agencies. And one of the contracting officers approached us and said, "Do you know an information technology company that does A, B, C, and D?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, I do." And so we had a client that we've been working with, and they had been supporting other organizations with business development in that space. And they were also providing those solutions. So I made the introduction, and their company has grown exponentially as a result of the relationships. So those are kind of things that some people, they don't consider it, or they don't know how to pursue it. They don't know how to have the conversation, but it just
Mhm.
needs to be natural. Just be
Mhm.
natural,
Mhm.
So anyway, it like I said, it's your network is your $1 million proposition. If you understand it, you leverage it appropriately. I mean, you really work on developing a true, authentic relationship, then
Uh-huh.
things do grow exponentially.
So I want to follow up, just throw it out there. Anybody can jump in. Why is this relationship and having a conversation about my value as a business, and I'm just speaking like through the voice of a vendor, so hard? What makes it hard?
I I can jump in real quick. So
Okay.
you asking why is it hard for like an outside company being a vendor to build a relationship with?
Yes.
I
Why
think
is that? Why is that so hard? People will say, almost like, part of the conversation I heard, I'm not gonna say we had, I heard at your event is people don't know how to have the conversation, and then when they have the conversation, sometimes it doesn't come off in a positive way.
yeah, I get.
Hmm. Hmm.
So one, and I hope everybody like out there is really listening to this, because this came out whenever we were done. That kind of after the phone calls that come after. If you listen to the panel, Bill Brown, especially with Tellefson, brought up the relationships a lot. Natasha brought up a lot to have it. You listen to the questions though that people would ask. There's a level of, I won't say kind of lazy, but then kind of entitled. But then you're kind of hitting it from a desperate measure, meaning to build a relationship, you've got to gain someone's trust that you know what you're doing, to make them comfortable that you know what you're doing, and not make it about a business, almost contractual conversation. And I think that's where they're getting it, because they're going to get the stalemate. They're going to get the stale face. They're going to get the want kind of, feeling, because the person doesn't want to talk to you like that. So you've got to come to them on their turf, on their terms, and really invite them in. Hopefully they invite you into their world. Like, how can I help you do your business better? What makes this thing tick for y'all? People aren't slow enough. They don't take that dance. They don't try to, just like dating. We try to date too fast. You got to take your time with these people, learn what they like and what they do and what's their favorite cupcake. I just stuff, how many kids they got, whatever. What makes this thing tick? Why you even do this job? Those kind of questions people don't ask enough. So it's not hard. They're just doing it way the wrong way. And they're pushing up against something where if people would know who they are, they would realize they need them a lot. They really want good people to work with. But you got to come at it the right way, because they got to trust you to go to bat for you. And there's so much in that. And we went over that a lot with the TSU situation, that I hope they kind of peel behind the veil a little bit. Like, y'all, we got to go to bat for you with people that sometimes don't even look like you. That's not an easy task to ask somebody. So yeah, I can go down that road for like an hour, but I think that's why it's quote unquote hard for them, because they're approaching it in such a wrong way, to where they can make that company feel comfortable with who they are and what they do for a living and how they can help that business. It would make things a lot easier.
Michelle?
Michelle,
Yeah, jump on in.
Yeah, sorry, Michael Council. I just wanted to add a caveat to what Coach Sean was saying.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I pulled from that conversation um, was, yes, sometimes, people approach the relationships with a sense of entitlement, um, more so than from a perspective of service, right? In business, we provide services. So when they were asking the questions, it seemed as if they're like, well, I'm MBE certified. I'm ADOF certified. I got these certifications. That means I'm supposed to win something. Instead of saying, you know what, these certifications are just resources. They're just tools to open up doors for you. So once you're inside the door, you can utilize those relationship TTPs and methodologies to show that your business is worthy to do and be rewarded that contract and that work, and contribute, show your value proposition. So I think that was one of the things that I pulled from that conversation from the panel.
I agree. Somebody else wanted to jump in, but let me just say
that
this.
it was me, Michelle. This Lori.
Hold on just a minute. I just want to say, to follow that up, that, you are on at all times. One of the things I told Michael, and I said, look, did you hear how nobody has introduced themselves? They got up to answer a question, but they didn't say who they were, what they did, the value they bring before they ask their question. Never pass up an opportunity to speak on who you are, because there's somebody in the room who needs you, or says, oh my God, I know I got opportunity for them. That's number one. Number two, the quality of your conversations and your questions, when you are virtually or in person, tell a lot about who you are, and it can cancel you or elevate you. And I'll pitch over to Lori now.
And Michelle, you're spot on both of those points. And I was actually going to say the same thing, something similar. But also, when we talk about the art of engagement and trying to establish relationships that's going to benefit you, in all things, you have got to be your true, authentic self. And being your true, authentic self is that you're going to have to be honest, you're going to have to be candid, you're going to have to be transparent, you're going to have to be vulnerable. My success that I obtained as a result of relationships was, again, the one I'm going to talk about is the success I obtained with sowing our seeds because of you all. I was able, through relationships, through being just Lori, just being good old young lady from the South, love people, not so caught up with credentials and all of those alphabets and those kind of things. I'm approachable. I want you to know I want to sow into you, but you all trusted my vision that God had given me, and you trusted it because you trusted me. And that's a feat to have. And so when we have that level of trust and respect, and we try to do for each other, because when one asks us questions, we try to respond accordingly, and we give true, authentic information. The same is true actually when folks are trying to engage and establish relationships with the government. We come in to a degree, whereas, and we've made the art of the conversation much more difficult than it has to be. And all you need to do, again, as we talked and as Michelle had said earlier, she's a student on Evergreen. Similar. All of us are always reskilling and upskilling. But people, we got to work on our soft skills. We make this art of conversation so much more than it is, because you're not, one, used to talking to yourself, let alone anybody else. So you haven't engaged in conversation. When we engage in conversation through the form of an RFI or source or even an actual solicitation, conversation occurs when you see and you know that there's a discrepancy and a flaw in the government's intent and purpose, but we won't say anything because we think if I keep it to myself, if I win the contract, I can change it then. Whereas then if you go ahead and allow the government to know, hey, government, this right here is flawed. Could you have somebody fact check this, validate this right here? You've given them an opportunity to enhance and further define their requirement. And guess what? Because they know that you know, your knowledge should be articulated in your proposal. So you're going to rise to the top, but we make the assumptions. I will withhold because I want to keep it for myself. And you can be amongst conversation as governments could be saying something, it could be totally crazy, and y'all will let them say it, thinking, okay, well, I'm going to get with them and I'll talk to somebody and I'll establish myself then. No, tell them right then and there. I was at a conference last year. Formal SES was making a statement about something they were going to do, and it was like the dumbest thing since ice cream. And I said, well, why are you trying something new when you haven't tested or validated what you just did and to find the flaws? Fix what you have, because what you have wasn't bad. Now you got time. Now you have treadway. You all get caught up with innovation and ideas and people saying things, and you don't communicate it down to the user. When you can't communicate it down to the user, it's just fancy conversation. What is wrong with what you have? Fix what you have and then move forward. And if you can fully vet this idea that somebody's going to brought up, try it in the next 5 years, but it's not ready. You're not ready for it now. And so we have to be that bold, and you have to be that transparent, and you have to be that authentic, because guess what? When you leave the conversation, you are the person they will remember. And I'm not telling you something I heard, I'm telling you what I know.
Preach it, girl, preach it. We got a question. I'm gonna put it up. And so we are a 27-year business. Is it time to retire? We feel that the AI and the new way of doing business, government is working from home. This has changed the game. How can we adapt to the new normal? Anybody want to chime in?
Can Michelle?
Yes, jump on in, hon. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So I work with AI companies, but also government agencies. And one thing they will need, and this is just a mandate based on like ethical AI and human in the loop, they will still need us businesses, and specifically technical experts. So people who can solve problems that AI bring. AI identifies the problem. It brings them more data, but they still are going to use this information to make decisions and to make the work more efficient. And the process is, streamlined. They still need people. The government will probably be the last entity that does like full AI, because they still work with so many people. And I could just give you an example. I had a business that reached out earlier, and the agency staff, they're using all these systems and they're directing the customer, the awardee, to the system, but the system does not give the same amount of detail that a core or a contracts officer would give them, or a program manager. So this is an example of where the agency is using technology. Is great, but it still doesn't give the same level of detail or that person to person experience that us, like, companies, we can give. So also I would say to include AI in your business model. Just include emerging technologies in your business model. Ask your customer, how are they using it? do research, and you can even use AI actually to research to find out how you can integrate it into your everyday operations or into your customer's business model. So I wouldn't look at it as a threat or to retire out of business, because they're going to need companies that have been around for a long time, because no one who's new in the industry are going to have the same amount of experience and depth like you have it. So they're going to need your knowledge, your past recommendations, and all these things, because AI needs data, current and past, for it to be strong. So they're going to need all of us, all of our information, because AI thinks like a human mind, but if we don't feed it anything, then it only puts out what you feed it. So you'll still be relevant. I'm pretty sure any business that's been around, there's if they have AI robots that are janitorial services, they're still going to have janitorial services contracts, because some people will prefer in person. Some contracts and security will require that. So just find where you fit in the process and then include it in your business. Don't see it as a threat. See it as an asset.
I agree. Anybody else want to jump in? And then we have
Yeah,
about 10 minutes left, or 9 minutes left now. Thank you for that. Come on with it. Come on.
yeah. This coach, I'm gonna chime in on the heels of what she's saying. Love the part about not being afraid of it. I love what she said exactly AI is doing. I will add another wrinkle on. Chat GPT is a generative, pre-trained transformer. It doesn't operate by itself. So the companies that are having robotics being involved in whatever language models, whatever, deep learning, whatever part of AI they're using, there's almost, I think I posted on LinkedIn last week, there's 100, probably 500 now, but there's 100 strong types of AIs being used for multiple things. Every one of those, say it gets to 1,000, you still need a person to train it. And even when you let it go on autopilot, there's a stop somewhere because it can't go any further as far as to be used for enterprise use. So if you're seeing AI used in spaces where you're worried about it, I would take that as a ooh, okay, let me incorporate that into, like she said, her business model. But you become the SME in that space once you really using it and getting some outcomes data behind it, and start training those tools in your own space, so that you're the person, because there's companies that are looking for who can do this for us, because we don't know how to do this. Some of these folks in construction are scared of it. These are 6 foot something guys in steel toe boots. Like, man, I ain't touching that stuff, but if you know it, I'll hire you to do it. And take it as an advantage, take it as an opportunity. It's not taking any type of jobs unless it's like McDonald's stuff, whatever, that a robot can already do. But trust me, these companies have been working on this for years. So take it as an opportunity. Don't be afraid of it, and see how you can scale within your own small business space to be a SME and use it to your advantage. Do not be afraid of it.
Yeah, I would also dovetail on that, is that there's a lot of companies out here today that are doing a lot of the AI piece, and I'm throwing up air signs, right? So they're doing AI, but they don't have the actual boots on the ground technical skill set. Sometimes you may want to partner with them because they don't know what you know after 27 years of actually doing this, but they're trying to build something that could potentially help your industry. Those are great opportunities to partner, leverage, teach you a new skill, and grow another business unit within your organization, or at least another line of revenue.
Oh, shucky ducky, we done moved into a technical conversation.
Come on.
Absolutely right.
So
Exactly.
I think congratulations for having a business that is sustained that long. So you know that you provide value. You know there's a space for your business. Yes, the government said they are moving, but as we all know, the government is a large, large boat, and it takes a long time to turn. So private industry is going to move at a faster pace. With that being said, yes, hire get a consultant, someone in there, so you can take the AI and either use white label products to help build efficiencies and strengthen your place in the niche, or as you get to a point and you have the strategy and the money, build your own solution. And man, you'll be so far out in front of it because you'll be an early adopter, so you'll have it. in your business, in your niche before anyone else, and you'll bring value to the government and to your clients. I think it's scary, but it's exciting at the same time.
I wholeheartedly agree with what everyone has said because, you know, AI is about context. And context is something I heard a preacher say this a long time ago, and it applies here in business, policy, law. If you do not understand the context of something, you're conned out of the true meaning of the text. And I think really that's where the strength of your 27 years in the industry is, that you understand what's important, what's not important, what can be applied here, and what is not applicable. I find that people are getting excited about AI, but they don't have the receipts. They don't have the the expertise to really give the government what they need so that that AI leverages, right, the success of what they're trying to do. And I think, it's about thinking about it differently. So we're at 8:26. We're gonna close on down. I do want to leave a few minutes we're like 30 minutes over, y'all. Normally we go 7 to 8, but today we started just a tad bit late. We are starting a new platform in a new way, but over the last hour and something, we've had about 30 people in and out. That's just on LinkedIn. I'll go back and look at, how many people have joined and are viewing on YouTube and, Facebook and Twitter. But, I would like our amazing experts and panel members to talk about something they're working on that's coming up, or some recent accomplishment, or give a few last words before we close out for our listeners. Thank you.
I can go, Michelle. If no,
Yes, ma'am.
is it
Hey.
okay for me
Yes,
to go?
ma'am. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I didn't comment about the relationships, but relationships are very important. Yesterday, I received a request from an interaction that I had with someone in industry, and pretty much I was informed that some other departments and like organizations have been watching my work, and I've been asked to come and train 50 technical assistance centers tomorrow, including some Apex and SBDCs and large organizations throughout the state of California that are training training small businesses. I'll be providing them with government contracting advice and technical assistance, capacity building. That came from establishing relationships, and then people are always watching. And because I'm willing to give free information, but also feedback that, like Lori mentioned earlier, some people are afraid to give critical feedback. You just have to give it in a way that, people can be receptive, and it seems like a solution versus a complaint, in my opinion. So tomorrow I'll be going out and training those technical assistance centers and how to better serve the small business community. And then another thing is, my company has partnered with tech firms, some more tech firms again, that's in the AI space. And some are looking to use our services for not only strategy and business development, but also delivery. So I'm onboarding right now some on-call AI engineers and data scientists. So that's exciting. And we're also going to train youth in underrepresented communities. So we plan to do like a workforce development program. I just had was invited to Women of AT&T. So we had an event where we shared non-technical and technical careers in tech with girls from underrepresented backgrounds.
Nice. Thanks for all you do, Chanel.
Thank you for having me.
Really makes a difference having, people who are dedicated out there, boots on the ground, opening doors and providing opportunities and access.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Who's next?
I'll jump in because I have to run, but
Yep.
Anthony Peters, Noble Communications. Two things. Number one, and it's right on the heels of what Chanel said, based upon this award that we've gotten, we have over the last week hired 25 minorities to work in a data center to start learning how to build out a data center. So that is number one, amazing for me because many of these folks, they use AI, they use their phones, but they have absolutely no clue where all this data comes from and or where it's housed. So they get to be a part of this evolution and revolution of AI. So that's really great from our standpoint. But as you know, I love business development and sales. So I would leave everyone with, if you have not met, qualified, and or developed a new relationship this week, you're behind. So that should be at least 1 to 2 new relationships every week. That's the only way that your organization is going to grow. And it's much like working out a muscle. Business development is your business's muscle. So
I love it.
so develop it, but everyone have a blessed night.
Thanks for joining. Appreciate you. Who else wants to go? Who's left? I think it's Lori. And I don't know if Miss Linda can speak.
And I don't forgot what we're doing, Michelle, but I will say.
You want to talk about sowing our seeds? We're talking about a success or a nugget to leave.
Absolutely. Again, as I stated or alluded to earlier, well, one, another great relationship success I want to compliment and talk about tonight is the relationship that I have with Chanel, in that she is included and brought me in of some of the efforts that she's doing out there in Los Angeles. And again, it was a relationship that we cultivated here. And what, again, that I continue to, not to hype you up or to throw, we are not trying to just do this just to be syrupy, but it is truly tremendous what you have done, for us, and how we all have benefited as we come in and sow. And as you say, you may not reap where you sow, but you're gonna sow it. And so we're sowing. God is giving that back to us, even with helping one another. And so I do appreciate Chanel for this opportunity, and I'm looking forward, to it and just growing and expanding upon it. Sowing our seeds, the empowerment conversion. Like I said earlier, it is an official. Sowing Our Seeds Empowerment is now an official nonprofit, and Sowing Our Seeds, the Empowerment Conversion, is a retreat that we will host. We host under that umbrella, and the purpose of the retreat, again, is to holistically provide opportunities and information to women to help them come through to show up and do the things that they desire to do in confidence, being mindful that they're already competent enough and they're trusting who they are. And holistically, we do that by bringing in health, styling, fashion, makeup, the presentation component of it, as we provide those hard skills aspects of it. But then we also integrate soft skills as well. And so holistically, we're giving women everything they need in order to be successful. And for companies, there are businesses that very well may be stuck in one way or the other. Of what you're able to do at their retreats is come and get the unadulterated, no holds bars answer and response to your needs. So when you move and when you leave still being productive with clear direction and knowing which way to go. And we are seeing the benefit of that now as we have numerous testimonies that are coming in. And there are some that actually got a testimony the other day of some of the accomplishments that are happening. So real excited about Sowing Our Seeds. Again, the event will be the 10th through the 14th of October in Hilton Head, South Carolina. It is a very as inclusive yet exclusive in that we are really taking that grassroots concept to, the next level, whereas then we're trying to cultivate, in small portions, but give them everything they need and then send them out. So tickets, I got a lot of folks saying they want a ticket this time. So when they go out, they're inclined to go quick and fast. So be ready because it's going to be well worth it.
Thank you. It was an amazing event, and honored to support you and anybody else in our community. Did everyone get a chance to say their last nugget or share a success story before I close out?
Michael, last one. Yes,
Yes.
Michael Council, EC Technology Consulting Services. We help businesses secure their data and their client data. Um, but I just like to say, hey, it's always a blessing to be on any um, media stream or any type of media with this group where I'm always learning things that I thought I knew, that you just don't know enough. But one of the successes that I'm really proud of that we're working on deals with a relationship, and we're building a relationship with a CISO from he's working regionally with a large government organization, and he's looking to go off on his own. So we're looking at doing some consulting with him, helping him build out his stuff so that he can be successful when he steps out. So he definitely is going to be a member of the Cybersecurity Council. So thank you so much, and hey, everybody, learn and grow.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Miss Linda, are you able to unmute? Thanks for joining, Michael. You know you're welcome anytime. I hope you'll be a regular. Appreciate you. It was great to get to know you better at Coach Sean Austin's event supporting Texas Southern this week. Miss Linda, can you are you able to unmute?
Can you
There
hear
you
me?
are.
Oh
There
my
you are.
God.
Come on, girl.
Listen, this been so good. I'm telling you, I've been in a listening and learning mood. So what I can say and what I want to say, this is the best platform that I have ever been a part of that, ooh,
You're
I've
so
got
kind.
results. I have so many opportunities that have been afforded to me since I've been on this platform. And all of you, every last one of you, I'm not playing. I love you all. And this is where we need to be collaborating with each other, pouring into each other. And one thing I can say too about Laura, she is straight on.
Yes.
And she is. And I've learned so much from her. And I do want to give a shout out to Lori and
Yes.
also Chanel, because Chanel, I'm not playing the information, and Lori, the discipline, you know what I mean? Straight talk. I mean, straight talk and being authentic has where I have improved. As a certified business mentor with SCORE, it's so important for that customer service. And so, all of us on this platform, we have poured into people, and then the people that is listening on the platform, they're actually, proven that it works when we come together in unity and then also stand in our lane. So that's what I want to say. And I learned a lot. First of all, how to learn how to navigate through this stream. Is this called live stream or something? What is this?
This is it's LinkedIn Live. It's on StreamYard. And
Yes.
we're trying a new thing, seeing how people like it. People have said, hey, we want to join, we want to want to hear what's going on. So I
Yes.
just want to thank you for joining, and thank you for your tremendous generosity of sharing a whole new aspect of serving that I knew about grants, but I didn't understand the process, right? I just thought we was doing chicken dinners and fish dinners, and we was asking family and using our
Right.
our retirement or our VA disability to pay. And you've opened up a whole new world, not for just for me, but for so many. I want to thank you for your presentation last week. And I need to follow up with you on a couple of things, but thank you so much for joining. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna close out. This is Michelle Gardner-Ince, aka GI, small business champion and advocate for women, veteran, and minority-owned businesses, ensuring your success while achieving small supplier diversity results. But most of all, this is mission and ministry for me to enable this community to impact other small businesses. I have a dream, and there's a song John Lennon says, I hope I'm not the only one. That dream is that there will be a $10 billion contract that is made up of all women veteran entrepreneurs on a government contract, or people from this community will partner together to do big and great things, and that's already happening. I want to thank these amazing humans who have joined me this evening, who join me every week. I want to end like I always do. May God bless you. May God bless you. May God bless you indeed. May He enlarge your territory. May He make your vision plain. May He grow your business. May He increase your influence. May He open doors no man can shut. May He keep you from evil and keep evil from you. I want to say good night and God bless. Thanks again. We'll see you next week. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.